What's up, superhumans? BT here. Today we are doing something we haven't done in a while. But before we do, real quick, if you are new to this channel, first of all, welcome. I am so stoked to have you here. I like to create content that's going to help you move, feel, and perform better, both mentally and physically. So if that sort of thing floats your boat, consider subscribing. It has been a pretty long while since we've done a Q&A. So I reached out on Instagram, the community page here on YouTube, and even the Super Secret Club, which is my private Whoop group, to see if you had any questions. And if so, send them in. And today we would be answering them. To make this video a little easier to navigate, I'm taking all of the questions and breaking them down by topic. First up is the Apple Watch Ultra. I called this my favorite product of 2022. Mitchell asked on the YouTube community page, do you think Athletic is good enough to be a Whoop replacement for those using an Apple Watch? Yes, I think it's good enough if the only thing you need is the 3 scores. That it can do. Sorry to cut in here. While I was editing this video, Athletic has actually released quite a few new features. They are paid for, so you've got to get Athletic Pro to get them, but this definitely makes Athletic even more worth it. Is it as accurate as Whoop? No, I don't think so. Sometimes it doesn't match how I'm feeling, and Whoop does match how I'm feeling much more accurately than the Athletic app does. Molly E. Dunham asks via Instagram, if you have an Apple Watch, is the Oura Ring too redundant? Yes, I do. I do think it's too redundant. I think it's totally unnecessary to have an Apple Watch and an Oura Ring. And to be quite frank, I think the Oura Ring is the thing you should ditch. Apple Watch has made huge strides in the last few years in what they offer when it comes to improving your health and fitness. They now have a really good sleep tracking algorithm. It's very accurate. They have so many apps that can help you track your sleep and improve your sleep. They have things to monitor your heart rate, atrial fibrillation, crash detection, you name it. They've got apps for diet and food consumption. On the other side of the spectrum, Oura Ring had 3-4 years since Oura Ring 2 and Oura Ring 3 to come out, and they simply did not make enough improvements. And even now, it's a little stale. It can barely track the metrics during an activity, and they're very limited in what they can track. So at this point, I would not recommend an Oura Ring 3 at all, especially if you already have an Apple Watch. Henry, do you want to go for a walk?
Here you come.
Hey you, world-renowned author Michael Easter asks, what do you think of the Apple Watch Ultra? I gotta be honest, Mike. For an incredibly intelligent author and researcher, that sure was a vague question. He also wrote The Comfort Crisis, and a part of it is rucking and how it's so good for you. And that's why I've got the backpack on full of gear, taking Henry for a walk, a ruck. Well, as I said earlier, the Apple Watch Ultra was my favorite product of 2022. It's probably gonna be my favorite product of 2023, who knows? But that's not because of what it does for me for health and fitness. Where I think it really shines is that it has now, because of its battery life, taken over as my main communication device. I did a video on this about how I was leaving my iPhone 14 Pro Max in favor of an Apple Watch Ultra. What I love about it is that it keeps me connected in the ways I want to be connected. Friends, family, text messages, and calling. But it eliminates the unwanted connection from like social media, things that are pretty much just ruining my life. I also really think that this isn't gonna be a fad. I think this is here to stay. I think more and more people are gonna start ditching their phones in favor of smaller, more capable devices like an Apple Watch Ultra. It's just so nice to leave my phone at home and go on a trip. We're going to California at the end of the week. I'll leave my phone home. I won't even need it, and I'll just take my watch and I'll be fine. And I think that's pretty cool. And that's why I love the Apple Watch Ultra so much. Drav on the community page asks, what's the most affordable supplement to increase brain health after a concussion or with POTS symptoms? Okay, so awesome question. But just so you're aware, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physician, so what I'm about to recommend should not be taken as a prescription or a treatment or an evaluation for those conditions. If you weren't aware, about a year ago, I got diagnosed with POTS, which stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And what this means is that my autonomic nervous system has a really hard time regulating my heart rate when I go from like a lying position to standing up. The first thing that I need to do is regulate blood volume a little bit better when I stand up. So we use salt to do that. Salt is an electrolyte, and electrolytes govern water balance like blood volume. This is LMNT, and it's an electrolyte. I love this stuff. It tastes really good. Normally this stuff tastes like garbage, but the spicy ones like lemon habanero and mango chili are absolutely my favorite. However, when it comes to a TBI, a concussion, this can be far more serious because you're actually damaging brain cells, right? You're shearing off layers of nerve cells in your brain. So when it comes to these supplements, unfortunately, there are few and far in between out there that can help with neurodegeneration. And so they are pretty expensive. There are no affordable options as of yet. But my favorites are nicotinamide mononucleotide, nicotinamide riboside, and NAD. So the nicotinamide riboside I get from a company called True Niagen. I will have links to all of these supplements in the description. And I've been taking those for quite a while. So, and they have helped tremendously. The other thing that I have here is pretty amazing, and it's called Routine. And I did a brief video on this not too long ago, but Routine is like a concierge vitamin and mineral supplement. What they do is they send you some tests, some take-home kits where you prick yourself, get a little blood, do these tests, and they can actually see what vitamins and minerals you're deficient in. And that usually happens when you get a concussion. And then they send you out this. And it says made for Brandon. And depending on my test, what they see in that test, they send me a packet of vitamins and minerals that I take. And I believe it's a 3-month supply. So it's not cheap, but so far it's been well worth it. So that is really cool, and I would highly recommend you checking them out.
Here's one of my favorite questions that I got so far. It's asked by James Snook, a regular on the Super Secret Club. Again, that is my private Whoop group. If you've got a Whoop, you can join. Just follow the directions in the description. What do you think the next consumer level tech that will make a big impact be, sports or otherwise? I think a fuller realization of augmented reality will be a giant shift in our daily habits. I'm not sure if you saw this video, but I made a video a couple years ago entitled The Future of Fitness, and it revolved around the Oculus 2 and how I think it's going to be like the way people exercise in the future. I think VR is right at the cusp of another evolution in realism. A jump so high that everybody is going to be using it for everything. Taking work meetings, answering emails, grocery shopping, getting together with friends over some mini golf. However, right now, there are so many games offered for something like the Oculus Quest 2 that make exercising so incredibly fun. If you haven't seen that video, definitely go watch it. I would say it is one of my more underrated videos. And speaking of that video, maybe it's time to revisit it and do a follow-up. What do you guys think? Let me know. More than anything, you wanted to know more about Whoop, which is great. You've come to the right place. Angela Bryn asks, will there be any Whoop promos in the near future? You know, Whoop doesn't do too many promos. I've only seen a few. You can always use the link in the description to pick up an extra month to save you some money there. I have no shame in plugging that. But if you didn't know, Whoop just announced that unlike every other manufacturer in the entire world, Whoop is actually reducing their prices, not increasing their prices. So right now, the 12-month and the 24-month membership are the lowest price they've ever been. Rub to Chub, that's his name. Where do you strap a Whoop during BJJ? I'm worried about it being on my wrist. This is the neoprene sleeve. I use this to put my Whoop in when I train. It's cushioned, as you can see, so it's nice and foamy, you won't injure anybody. Or you can put it in a special pair of boxers on your hip, or you can use a compression top that Whoop makes. That's actually my favorite way. A. Hassel asks, how does Whoop inform your training? It does this in a few ways. Number one, it tells you how ready you are for stress given your recovery score. That's the big score you see right when you open the app. Number two, it can then tell you how hard you need to work out using the strain coach. And number three, it allows for self-experimentation using the customizable journal. This is a feature I haven't seen any other wearable offer. So let's say you want to know how much your dog sleeping in your room or sleeping in your bed with you is affecting your sleep. Well, you can actually add that to your journal, and then every morning when you wake up, when it gives you a recovery score, the journal pops up and you can say whether or not that was a factor. Finally, Jim asks, what do you want to see in Whoop 5.0? Man, what do I want to see in Whoop 5.0? They have done so much already, advancing the Whoop 4.0 with software updates. I mentioned the stress coach that's coming later this month. You should be seeing that pretty soon. They're also introducing muscular strain. I don't think any other wearable does this, and it really could change the game, not to sound cliche. I cannot say anything more than that, and that will be coming out later. By them releasing these features, I think it's going to give Whoop 4.0 even more validity, even more value for, I would say, probably another year before the 5.0 comes out. But what would I want to see in the 5.0? I would like to see it have a much more accurate GPS. For those that like to run and want to see distances and see where they've been, I think that's a really important feature. I think it needs to work better with people with tattoos. So I don't know if that's introducing a new type of sensor or improving on their optical sensor that they already have, but I think they need to give priority to this functionality. I would also like to see the puck change. Not in its application. I think it was revolutionary when they added the puck that you add to it. That way you never have to take it off when you charge. I love that the puck is waterproof, but I think it's too big. I would love to see the puck shrink in height because it sticks so far off your wrist. And speaking of charging and battery life, I would love to see them get a solid week out of it. Right now, I'm getting about 3.5 days, and I think that's because they've absolutely pushed the limit of what the battery can handle with all of the cool features that come on a Whoop. Oh, finally, this is a big one, but it has very little to do with the 5.0 and what they could do right now. And it's something I've been asking for a while, and that is an Apple Watch app. I've got this watch on my wrist. I would love to be able to open it up and see my 3 scores. That would be incredible. I don't need much more than that. I just want to see my 3 scores. Thank you so much for everybody for sending in these amazing questions. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. We've also got some amazing videos coming out in the near future, so make sure you're subscribed. I didn't know if you knew this, but subscribing is free. It doesn't cost you anything. Thanks again for watching. I will catch you later. Peace.